Backrooms. Short Stories by Mayfield. Chapter 1, Andrew Day 1. My name is Andrew, and my friend Brock and I live in a small town called Applegate. It's a rainy fall afternoon. As we approach the underside of the old brick bridge connecting Applegate and Winchester, we begin to realize the eerie vibe this place emits, just like the legends we had heard about since we were kids in our small town.
Our shoes start to sink deeper and deeper into the wet mud. We finally get to the entrance of the cramped, dark tunnel that seems to stretch miles and miles beneath the hard-packed dirt. I finally convince Brock to crawl in first. We both take out our old yellow flashlights from our pockets and flick them to life. For what feels like hours, we have only been crawling for minutes. Brock is only a few yards ahead of me when he stops to tell me there is a junction where it splits off to the right. He suddenly cranes his neck and stares into my eyes, and with no words spoken, I immediately know something is not okay.
He's a tall, frail kid with blue eyes and bushy eyebrows, and is the class clown of our town school, and always has a smile on his freckled face. But I've never seen the sheer terror on his face. All of a sudden he gets grabbed by a dark, skinny figure with a snow-white face. He is grabbed with such force, it looks as if all his bones are ripped out of their sockets. Brock screams hysterically for my name, but I just lay there frozen in the darkness around me, petrified. I'm not claustrophobic at all, but now I feel ultimately trapped in this wet and dark tunnel.
I quickly twist my neck to look back. I only see darkness. The sewer has somehow closed on us. After about 2 long minutes, I gain all my courage to move farther into the wet and musty tunnel.
As I keep crawling, I hope to find the end of the tunnel, because I can't turn around since the tunnel is too narrow, and the entryway has been somehow sealed. The tunnel then comes to a sudden stop, and I shudder when I see the hard concrete wall in front of me. I hopelessly pat the concert surface all around. I'm so confused why it stops. No sewer is ever supposed to stop. What would be the point of a sewer then? My mind is lost. I have no clue what to do next.
Then, I suddenly glitch through the floor and hit the ground with such force that it makes it feel like every bone in my body shattered. But after I examined myself, it seems to be only a sprained ankle.
Both of the batteries smashed into the wall when I hit the ground. My hands frantically feel in the dark and find them against a wall. I pick both of the batteries up, and with only a few scratches, they still seem to be in usable condition. I shakily insert them in their respective places and hesitantly twist the knob, knowing I have always had a problem with putting batteries in the wrong place. The flashlight comes back to life, with a faint flicker. I look up to see where I fell from, but it's just a concrete ceiling. I'm puzzled. I see that I'm in a large, dark concrete room with only one fluorescent light and just a doorway. The fluorescent light hums so loudly that my head starts to ache. I'm terrified and confused. Where am I? What just happened? Is this a dream? I slowly approach the doorway and peek in. When I step in, my feet just touch the damp carpet before I hear it. It screams for my name. I stand there frozen. Once I regain my senses, I notice that my heart is pounding out of my chest so loudly that I feel as if the creature can hear it. I start to move further into the office-looking rooms that have fluorescent lights and foam ceiling tiles. The carpet is damp and moldy, and the walls are covered in a dull yellow wallpaper. The air smells thick with decay. The rooms don't connect with any sort of doors, and the design of the rooms are so strange with random walls and poles in the middle of hallways and rooms. The rooms are not square, but are oddly shaped. I limp for what seems like miles in these strange rooms, and gradually my ankle improves. I'm undoubtedly lost. As I wander aimlessly through the endless maze, I become aware of faint whispers and footsteps in the distance. But every time I would quickly look over my shoulder, the noise would stop. I approach the wall where the man seems to be resting, only to find that he is dead. I shudder when I see the lifeless eyes staring at me. He is surrounded by black blood that emits from his body. The blood splattered on the wall and floor, which makes it look like he exploded, but the body seems to be preserved. The blood litters the ground around him, stretching a few feet. Then I recognize him with a large nose and big forehead. You would never forget the face. I've seen countless missing posters in town over the last year on telephone poles, mailboxes, and downtown shops. His name is Douglas Fields. He went missing on January 18th, 1989. I remember the date so well because it was Brock's birthday. I remember the mayor speaking that day about the tragedy. I'm so confused. How did he get into this place? I feel like I'm in a prank show, but this is too good to be a prank. I start to lose my sanity because this place is empty and absolutely terrifying. My body is just too heavy to hold up and my legs give out. I hit the ground with a thud next to Douglas. My mind begins to get foggy and my vision fades out until it's only blackness. I wake up in the same place where I collapsed. I shakily stand up and walk away from the grave of the poor man. My mind races through hundreds of thoughts at once. I walk for only a few minutes when I see at least 4 people walking around in yellow hazmat suits, pulling a red rope. I'm safe from this evil place, I think, as I start to run to them. One of them notices me when I'm only a few steps away. The same one screams and falls back into the other who is holding the red rope. Moments after the one notices me and screams, they all become aware that I'm there. They all back up into the wall behind them, in utter confusion. "Hello," I say with desperation in my scratchy voice. "Who are you?" the guys asked, which fell over when I first approached them.
I glitch through the ceiling into this place. I exclaim. They look at me in confusion. "Have you seen anybody else here?" The same guy asks. "I saw a dead man a couple hundred feet away, just laying against the wall shrouded by black blood."
I exclaim. You come back with us to the ASYNC lab where we can figure out what happened to you." He exclaims. "Okay," I say in confusion. Chapter 2, We follow the red rope that sketches along the carpet. After about 10 minutes of walking, I start to hear the sounds of a party. I'm puzzled about why a party would be here. After about another minute, one of the guys recognizes the sound too. He asks everyone else if they hear it too, and we all pause there listening. We all hear a party. I would think they would know about it, but they are just confused as I am. We break away from the original red rope and start laying a new line with a smaller rope. We begin to get closer and closer with every step. After walking for a little longer, we all feel as if this is the closest we can get to the sound of people talking. I walk around a corner and put my ear up against the wall and hear it louder than ever. I take my ear off the wall and look back where I see them watching me for any news. I only hear talking, the same from earlier, I say. I begin to make my way back to them, but suddenly, as if I was rapidly blinking my eyes, pixelated blackness and a variety of colored bands pulsate in and out, with an electric arcing noise that only lasts for a split second. When the lights appear again, the people have disappeared along with the rope. Suddenly, all my hope for escape from this place leaves me. Did I just glitch to a different space and time, or did they? Am I in the past or future? Where did the rope and people go? I desperately walk aimlessly and scream hysterically for anybody, but just silence. I begin to walk again so strongly, hoping to find somebody else. I walk for only a few minutes when I see a lanky black figure peering at me from behind a wall. It screams so loudly that my ears ring like a bell. I run with all my might and only look back for a second, but it's already on my heels. Then I notice a metal ladder only a few feet away leading into a vent-looking hole in the wall. I ascend the ladder and find myself on a narrow ledge peering into a dark abyss and only see darkness, but I jump in anyway. I'm falling at least 120 miles per hour in darkness before I faintly hit the ground. I am very confused because I should be completely dead from the fall. Last year, I broke my arm falling off my bunk bed wrestling with my brother, and that was only 5 feet. Something is definitely strange here. I land in an enormous room with white ceramic tile on every surface and a vast pool behind me. But the first thing I notice is the large sign engraved on the ceramic wall in front of me which reads pool rooms. I walk for a while, in this expansive complex of interconnected rooms and halls slightly submerged in undulating tepid water. Each area of the levels varies greatly in size and shape, ranging from uniform pools and hallways to more open, abnormally shaped areas. The walls, ceilings, and floors of this level all appear to be constructed from the same white ceramic tiles, with the only deviation from this color being the blue-green hue of the water. The tiles are eerily pristine in condition, all identical to one another, without a single hint of damage on their shiny surfaces. It's bright from, what I think is, the sunlight coming through high windows with the glass emitted. When I leave the area, I find myself in an abnormal-sized room that looks like a mall, but with only white tile and water. It seems to repeat the same large cube-like pattern that is 2 stories tall. I stand on the second-story walkway, noticing that the platforms are connecting to the walkways made of the same white tile, perfectly rectangular. There is no railing or any sort of protection against falling off into the water. I'm perplexed by the sheer size and shape of this place. It feels like things have been glitched like a bugged video game. I walk to one of the bridges that connect to the other side of the walkway and stand in the middle of the bridge, looking off the side. The pattern repeats as long as I can see. It seems to be an endless large mall, but it's not. I am confused. Trembling, I fall to my knees. I shudder and begin to mentally lose it. My breathing starts to get harder. My chest gets tight. I'm now gasping for air. I can sense my pupils dilate and become large black spots in otherwise deep brown eyes. Nothing but liminal spaces, emptiness, loneliness, and complete quietness. I run to the other side of the bridge, sobbing and screaming hysterically. After I cry myself out, I start to shake. They're shaking for at least an hour before I finally get up and began walking along the mall's walkway. The only thing I hear is my footsteps, tap, tap, each step echoing through the halls. I see many passageways on the side of the walls which are noticeably darker, but some of the passageways have blood-red ceramic tiles. After about 30 minutes of walking, I walk into the passageways with blood-red tiles, step down about 2 feet into the water soaking my pants. I have to turn my flashlight back on because barely any light makes its way in. The hallway is very tall and has sharp turns and corners. As I'm treading through the water, I accidentally drop my flashlight. I frantically try to grab it fast as it sinks, but it's too late. Its light flickers out. I'm now in a dark hallway with only a fluorescent light every 30 feet, dark red ceramic tiles, and water just below my waist. I don't know what to do. It's so quiet and eerie that I begin to tremble again, but this time I don't let my emotions overtake me. I run as fast as I can through the water and then see a light about 140 feet ahead. I feel like something is chasing me, but I won't stop this time. After I make it to the light, I find that nothing was chasing me after all, and I walk backwards still looking at where I came from. Trip suddenly on something and fall back into another void. All is black for a second. When I open my eyes, I see soaring high apartments. I'm in the middle of the road, but again, it's silent and empty. And again, the apartments repeat a pattern. I walk to the nearest building, but instead of a lobby, there is just an elevator waiting where the doors should be. I walk in hesitantly and press the button for floor 94 to get the highest view of this odd city. But instead, it opens to rolling grass hills and oddly shaped 2-story houses. Baffled. Everything has a grainy effect as if this place was crafted. The houses look as if they have been copied and pasted by a higher power. They are placed all throughout the hills and look as if they were built in the 1950s. With beautiful dispersed clouds hovering above, I look ahead of me and notice that there are no roads or any signs of foot traffic.
I walk to the nearest home and let myself in. Once again, the house is dead silent. The furniture is way out of date. It looks as if it was made in the 1950s as well. I walk upstairs to find a little boy's room. It feels as if I have been walking through a dream. I want to fall asleep because I so strongly hope that I will wake up in my cozy bed, so I lay down in the boy's bed and drift off to sleep. I wake up in the night by an ear-splitting ring coming from an old alarm clock on the nightstand, reading 12:30. I fumble trying to turn the stupid thing off, and after about a minute, I finally figure it out and am relieved by the silence. I slowly roll out of the small bed and just approach the stairwell when I see it. It is an entity with reflective eyes and teeth gleaming in the dark, standing at the bottom of the stairs. It has no physical body. I pause and stare at it, but when I look away for a second, it has already moved 10 feet closer to me. I don't know what to do, and my mind races through hundreds of options. I calmly back up but still keep my eye on this entity. Then, I slowly walk to the back of the boy's room. The entity has now moved into the doorway. Suddenly, I turn around and jump through the glass window, my forearms taking the majority of the blow. I fall for what feels like 10 long seconds before I land on the perfectly cut grass beside the house. Gasping for air, I shakily get up and run aimlessly in complete darkness. By now, my forearms are really bleeding. I run to the nearest house and push the door open, quickly locking the sturdy door behind me. I run upstairs and step inside the bathroom, which is elegantly decorated with an old-fashioned bathtub and a large sink with a crack straight through the middle. I get in the tub and hide behind the shower curtain, and trembling, I lay down. Minutes turn to hours, and before I know it, I end up laying in the bathtub all night with my eyes wide open. I haven't heard any sounds for hours, so I decide that it's safe to get up. I notice the morning sunlight beaming through the window and stand up. I open the curtain and see my towel hanging on a towel rack with my name on it. I step out of the tub and again see my toothbrush. I look around and recognize that it's my bathroom with the same red carpet, tile, and wallpaper. I look out of the window and see Applegate. I glance at the mirror and notice massive scars all over my forearms.